The movie opens in a poor, shady environment where people live in survival mode, and most people deal in substances to get by. Eddie, our protagonist, offers a car mechanic some money to repair his delivery van, but the mechanic simply points out that the money isn't enough. Eddie tells him to at least take the money and repair the van because there's no way he could get any more money unless he uses the van to do deliveries. After hearing this, the mechanic simply walks away and tells him to come back when he's ready with the complete amount. Eddie gets a call from his daughter, and he ignores it. Seconds later, he gets a call from his girlfriend, who is very angry with him for ignoring his daughter's call because he's supposed to pick her up after school. She reminds him that this was the same reason they broke up. Frustrated by everything, Eddie spots a wallet with a dollar bill and gets close enough to grab it without the mechanic noticing. After taking out the money from the wallet, he starts to look around for something else to steal. Not finding any targets, Eddie starts calling everyone he knows to borrow some money, but they all turn him down as if he never even existed. So, he starts going around the streets, grabbing on car door handles to check if anyone is open until he finds one with a dog inside who barks at him. Seeing the dog left by its owner, Eddie offers it some water. Later, he gets another call from his little daughter, who is angry at him for ghosting her, but they still profess the love they have for each other. While on the call, Eddie spots a very clean SUV. Judging from the exterior, he concludes that the car might actually get him the kind of money he needs to repair his van. He goes to open it, and luckily, it isn't locked, so he gets in immediately and starts looking around for anything he could sell. After a few minutes of finding nothing, he decides to leave the car, but the car door doesn't open. When he sees someone looking at the car, he quickly ducks, thinking it's the owner, but the man simply walks past. Left with no other choice, Eddie starts to punch the glass in hopes of cracking it. When that doesn't work, he starts to kick it, all to no avail. The next morning, the vehicle finally turns on by itself, and a call comes in. Eddie doesn't realize that there's a camera in the car watching him as he ignores the call. He looks around and finds a wrench and starts to smack the glass, but nothing happens. He uses the wrench to open the compartment on the door, but when he reaches out, he gets a nasty cut on his arm that leaves him bleeding. He then tries using his mobile phone, but it seems the network is jammed. After several minutes of failed attempts, he finally picks up the call. A man's voice can be heard, and he introduces himself as William, the owner of the car. From his voice, it seems like he is 70 years old. Eddie keeps cursing the man, so he tases him. Eddie begs the man to let him go, but he insists that he has something to share with him and needs his full attention. He explains that his car has been broken into 6 times over the past few years, and Eddie is the 7th person he's dealing with. Eddie still doesn't want to listen to the man yapping and wants to be let out, but William insists that won't happen unless they get acquainted. Frustrated by everything, Eddie pulls out his gun and fires it at the glass window, only for it to ricochet and hit him in the leg. He cries out bitterly, and William keeps tasing him. Eddie yells out for help, but no one can hear him since the car is soundproof. Somehow, a lady seems to walk by and notices something on the car, so Eddie keeps yelling for help, only for the lady to adjust her makeup and simply walk away. Eddie keeps bleeding and losing so much blood that he begs William to call the police, but William refuses, saying that the cops are busy. Eddie tries to call 911, but his network is jammed. The man asks if he really thinks he would leave his vehicle like this unlocked, revealing that he set the car as a trap for people like him and that he took the bait. Eddie asks what he wants, and the old man tells him he only needs him to pay attention to everything he says. He reveals that the car was a project to capture people like him since the police only give them a pat on the wrist and let them loose again into the streets. This trap is his own form of justice. Eddie curses him, so he tases him again. Warning him that he doesn't like curse words and that any time Eddie says one, he'd get punished, William explains to Eddie that he wants him to be truly sorry for his actions. He keeps talking about himself, and within a few minutes, Eddie has already lost so much blood that he passes out while whispering that he needs water. At night, while it rains, Eddie suddenly wakes up to find his injuries bandaged and treated. He tries drinking some water, but it's finished already. He takes out his bag and pulls out a chip bag, starting to lick on it while staring at a burger poster across the street. The next day, Eddie sits still while vaping when William calls again. He doesn't pick up, so Eddie reveals he has full control of the car and doesn't need to accept the call anyway. He keeps talking about his life again. Tired of the ranting, Eddie curses out, saying he needs food and water, causing William to tase him multiple times. Eddie keeps cursing, so William increases the temperature of the car to cold and turns the music up to the loudest setting. Several hours into the torment, Eddie is losing his sanity and starts to beg the old man to turn off the song. At night, Eddie is already freezing when William calls again. This time, Eddie accepts the call and apologizes for cursing, so William turns off the air conditioning, giving Eddie a sigh of relief. 6 days into the situation, Eddie pees in a water bottle, takes off his clothes, and starts smashing the car rear again, all to no avail. William calls again and mentions that he's already starving at this point. Eddie notices a man standing at a tall building making calls. Eddie asks the old man what he would do if he eventually dies in this situation, and William says he doesn't care anyway and that no one would miss him. Eddie starts to talk about crime, punishment, and the justice system, revealing he's street smart and thinks William was privileged while growing up. Eddie tries to mess with one of the cameras and gets tased again. They keep talking about crime and the dark side of the justice system, and Eddie reveals he's dying of prostate cancer and has about 4 months to live. He begs William once again to call the cops, but William refuses, saying the police don't deal with criminals the way they're supposed to. Within a few days, Eddie would get arrested and released afterward without any form of punishment, and this is his own form of punishment. He adds that in some other countries, when one is caught stealing, their arm is chopped off. Eddie says it's a lie, and when William asks about the punishment for repeat offenders, Eddie admits that their fingers get chopped off. Hearing this, William asks for his social security number, assuring him that if this is his first time committing the offense, he would set him free, but if it's otherwise, he would chop off his 4 fingers. Eddie refuses to give him his social security number, saying it's not just that the system is rigged. He blames the rich, saying the law protects them, and they were the ones who created it to keep the poor impoverished while they keep enriching themselves. Eddie calls it nonsense and reveals that when he was growing up, he had nothing himself. He started from scratch and made the money he has now, and his actions are just stupid excuses. He quotes a verse in the Bible that says, "Thou shalt not steal," and ends the conversation to play the previous music from earlier. That evening, Eddie goes ahead to punish William further by increasing the heat level of the car. Thirsty and hungry at the same time, Eddie leans forward to the roof of the car in hopes of getting some raindrops at least. Frustrated and losing his sanity, Eddie grabs the bottle containing his urine from the past few days and tries to drink it, but the awful smell prevents him, so he stops halfway. William ends the song and tells him he thought he was going to drink it. He asks for his social security number so he can get some water and turn off the heat. Eddie cooperates and tells him where to get the water, and William turns down the heat. After drinking the water, Eddie tries to sleep when he notices some of his scratch cards he got from the store are still remaining. He scratches one, only to find out he won $500, which is enough to pay for the repair of his van. He begs William to let him out, but William tells him that he'll never get to go home. Eddie starts to beg for food, telling William that he's sorry for breaking into his car and begs for his forgiveness. William tells him he doesn't feel any pity for him but would give him some cookies. At that moment, Eddie notices an open compartment in the area where the cookies came from. Noticing that William would be away from the camera for a while, he confirms this and decides to check out the compartment. He takes a picture of it and deduces how to turn off the safety switch, so he reaches out into the hole. While trying to press a button, his finger comes off. Regardless of the pain, Eddie keeps trying again. William returns and asks him what he was doing, reminding him that he's always watching. The following day, Eddie continues his luck for freedom and uses his leg to try and take out the safety switch while hallucinating about the type of food he'd like to eat right now. Left with no choice, Eddie goes to the back of the car, takes out the bottle containing his urine from last week, and covers his nose so he can gulp it in one go. Eddie wakes up again from another sleep, only to watch a man teaching his daughter how to ride a bike, which reminds him of his daughter. Tired and exhausted from everything, Eddie keeps pressing a button on the car and unconsciously turns the car system on. When he starts the car, everything seems to work just fine, so he drives a few miles, only for the car to stop abruptly. William laughs at him before turning on the autopilot and playing some classical music as he drives him through shady areas, telling him that society is broken and backwards. With this, he drives to another shady corner where 2 thugs are beating up a man. William honks the car several times to get their attention, and one of them pulls up his shirt to show he has a gun. So, he speeds up the car and runs over the criminal, killing him on the spot. The second criminal tries to run, and William gives chase until he gets to a corner. Eddie begs him to stop, but William doesn't listen and drives the car straight against the criminal, pinning him against the gate. Telling Eddie there's a punishment for breaking the social contract, William keeps pressing the criminal against the gate. Eddie confesses that he gets his point now and begs him to stop. For a moment, William takes the car back and tells Eddie that if the criminal gets to stand upright, he would let him out. As soon as the criminal stands, William immediately smashes his head against the gate, killing him while he laughs in satisfaction as Eddie cries in frustration, calling him a psychopath. The remaining night, William drives around the city like crazy, cutting every corner so sharply that Eddie begs him to stop. William continues to drive the car to the rooftop and speeds up so fast that he's about to leap, stopping at the last second, causing Eddie to fall and hit his head on the dashboard, passing out. The next day, Eddie wakes up, and William tells him that while he was asleep, he went to his girlfriend's apartment to give her some money. Eddie begs him to leave his family out of this because he loves them, but William cuts him off, telling him he's selfish and only cares about himself, not minding who gets hurt in the process. He points out that Eddie owes 2 years of child and spousal support and is not fit to be a dad. William then drives to his daughter's school. Confused by why they are there, Eddie asks William, and he tells him he wants to find out if his daughter inherited his street smarts. Eddie begs him to drive off and leave his daughter alone. He yells at the top of his voice, calling out to his daughter, but obviously, she can't hear him. The daughter is about to cross the street, and William speeds up, almost hitting the little girl. Noticing that she's being followed, the little girl starts to ride her scooter faster to escape the psychopath pursuing her. Eddie keeps begging, saying he'd do anything right now just so William doesn't harm his baby girl, but William keeps speeding toward her. Few inches before reaching the little girl, Eddie takes his gun and shoots himself, but it's empty. This causes William to quickly swerve the car to avoid hitting the little girl, revealing that he took out the bullets when he came to treat his wound earlier and confesses that he's having so much fun. Traumatized by what just happened, Eddie snaps and says he's done. He starts by taking out the cameras one by one, not minding that William is tasing him while he tells him to stop as he smashes the smart screen. A few minutes later, Eddie sends a voice note to his daughter, telling her how much he loves her. He explains that things haven't been easy on him, however, he doesn't want her to think he's a deadbeat and has done everything to make things work out. He isn't sure he's making it out of the current situation alive. The car suddenly makes a stop in a secluded area near another car. A man comes out and calls out to Eddie, introducing himself as William. He rolls down the window a little bit, and Eddie starts to yell for help, causing the old man to tase him multiple times so he can behave. William gives him a zip tie and tells him to cuff himself to a bar below him. After he does so, William enters the car, gives Eddie some gummy bears, turns off the autopilot, and starts to drive the car toward the countryside. Seeing the bag behind him, Eddie concludes that William is going to kill him after all. William tells him that, fortunately, he's been stealing for a while now until he got unlucky, and now he has to pay for his crime. Eddie begs one more time to be taken to the police, but William says he doesn't care and wants to take him through the gates of hell himself. Eddie notices a bracelet on William's hand with the name Emma on it and asks if it was his daughter. William confirms that it is. Eddie also notices that William has been playing her favorite classical music. Suddenly, William steps on the brake, causing Eddie to hit his head on the dashboard. Eddie laughs and calls him Daddy, which prompts William to step on the brake again, causing Eddie to smash his face once more on the dashboard. Using the opportunity, Eddie tries to find the car's kill switch with his leg while William keeps ranting about the incompetence of the current generation. Eddie tells him to explain what happened to his daughter, and William reveals that his daughter died when she was still little, killed by thieves who only came to steal $1,500. Eddie finds it twisted that now, because of that, William has decided to carry out justice by himself on anyone, playing Batman. William points a gun at him, threatening to kill him on the spot. Eddie begs him to pull the trigger, saying he's just a sad, lonely, and angry old man. Before William can react, Eddie presses the kill switch with his foot, causing the car to turn off and head down, crashing down a hill. This triggers William to shoot the gun, and the bullet ricochets around the car, hitting from the back. Minutes later, Eddie wakes up and quickly takes off the zip tie before William can wake up to finish him. Eddie keeps punching William until his face is covered in blood. At that moment, his voice note is sent because now there's network coverage, and he gets a call from his daughter. She tells him how scared she was after listening to his message, asking if he's alright. Eddie assures her that everything is fine, and she tells him to pick her up after school. As the car catches on fire, Eddie assures her that he'd be there. He grabs a hammer and starts pounding on the small cracks in the glass caused by the crash. After several attempts, the glass breaks, and Eddie is able to make it out before the car is engulfed in flames, with William still inside. Eddie makes it to the roadside with a $500 scratch card still in his hand, and a stranger drives by to help him out. Back in the city, Eddie brings the needed amount to repair his van so he can pick up his daughter, who is already waiting for him. However, he's told he has to wait for some time before they're done. Realizing he could be late to pick up his daughter, he gets an idea. He drives the little bike he saw in the store and rides to meet his daughter, giving her a big hug and assuring her he would do everything and anything to take care of her. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video and would love to see more from this channel, please like and subscribe.